Good morning. Good morning. I will officially start since my father says I can. So I guess I do have full permission to run my show, and I guess I should turn on some more lights. That might help. So, well, good morning. Welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you for being here. We are now 7 days out from Christmas. How about that, right? Who's ready? So good morning to my dad, Margaret, Tom, Carrie, Nikki. So yeah, no, prove that it is a good morning. I mean, well, it is 9:30 in the morning, so what can I say? Um I yeah, no, I mean let's do this thing, right? I mean it's another week gone by, another week closer to Christmas. Uh I've been talking about it with a few people recently, and I think it is quite interesting of how fast um, Christmas really showed up. I mean, it's here. I mean, it's a week from tomorrow. I mean, So, oh, thanks, Carrie. That is not your Christmas tree wallpaper. Hey, it works, right? I mean, I wouldn't complain if this, was, the way my house looked right now, but hey, good morning, Sharon. So, but it fits, obviously had to do some sort of Christmas thing, and I'll have a different background for next weekend too. So, but yes, speaking of that, real quickly before we go on, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, speaking because I did ask you guys way back. I think it was in early November, or sometime in November. I think it was. It might have even been October. I did mention if you guys were still interested in having, if you guys were interested in me still having a show Christmas Eve, so a week from today, and then New Year's Eve. And it seemed like most people were like, yeah, go for it. Cause obviously it is in the, not the actual day. Cause obviously I wouldn't do that. I never do that. Any type of holiday that falls on a Saturday, I just, we just skip it or do it a different day. But everybody was interested. But what I wanted to know was if obviously I want to obviously do more of a Christmas themed topics, that day. So I was thinking, should we just you want me to just like hit should we just stay real like clean and positive and talk about just fun things with Christmas, or should we like mix it or go a little bit more on darker side of things? Do we really want to go like kind of creepy Christmas, which is a lot of other presenters and speakers like Jeff Belanger they do presentations on creepy Christmas. So we could essentially just get all weird on that, but then again, it is the day before, so do we really want to be creeped out and waking up Christmas morning, wondering what's under the bed or something? So, I don't want to put that kind of fear in everybody's minds. So, so, um, hey, good morning, Christine. Talk about Yeshua and get Bonnie on the show. Yeah, Valerie, that's something, I was going to wait until New Year's Eve. Yeah, he is, Margaret. I was going to, because I've talked about it in the past. And like I said, normally this is what the beginning of the show is all about, is to just kind of highlight things that have been going on in my head during the week, and then, events and things. And so one of the things I wanted to still do, and I'll bring it up again, is to do another show. There's no consistency with it, meaning will it be weekly? Probably not, to see, what kind of response I get from it, because obviously it's a good way to segue into things. But to get kind of where you're going with that, Valerie, is to um, do another show. It would be somewhere between Monday and Friday, in the evenings, here in the States. Sorry, Nikki. But it would be in the evening, and it would be more based on it. Not so much topics. It would be actually more designed for having guests on. Um, you know, Obviously, I have some connections to some you know paranormal celebrities, but then I don't have them all, and I haven't met them all and stuff like that. So I mean, I wanted to sort of just do, you know, whether it's once a month, maybe it's every other week, or however I can fit it with a particular guest. And so my idea was to do another show, definitely not weekly, especially, for at least a few months. just to see what kind of response you guys all, get to. But because I know the morning shows are difficult. I mean, it's one thing to wake up, or especially now that we're in the holidays, we got to run around, we got to do things and stuff. And even then, I'm all cleaned, I'm all showered. So this is one of those other rare days that you can actually see me all cleaned up. And as soon as the show's done, as soon as I post the audio version of this, I'm out of here. So I'm going over to my buddy Jeff's house. We're going to do some pinball for a few hours, and then he's got to go to a Christmas party. So, hey, Betsy. But yeah, Carrie, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking at first, was just to do it monthly and bring a guest on, who's ever willing. And I would do it based on, sort of their schedule too. So that way, as much as I want to be consistent and have something on a particular day so people can work around their schedules, I might just do it that way. So even if you miss the show, you still have an opportunity to, play it back at some point. Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, I know. And right, Dad. I mean, like I said, it's never going to fit everybody perfectly. And I think, anybody you guys follow, even like Tim Shaw and stuff, and some of the other, great shows that are out there, some days it works, some days it doesn't. And, at least you have the power to go back and watch it, when you have a chance. And so that's, kind of one of my goals. And like I said, with the idea of doing, at least a once a month, with somebody, whoever it is, whether it's, close friends of mine, whether it's, people that you see on TV, just to be able to do that. And I want to sort of set it up to where it is, I can do the same idea of having hey, Dinah, still do the show. But I think what I'll do is, in the middle of it, I'll probably do some sort of break, to where like advertising can happen. So that way I can, because a lot of research I've been doing for over the last year or two is, the way podcasting works is you have to have a break in the middle of the show, and you have to do like some type of advertising with it. So if you do it without being live, it makes it a lot easier, because it's easy to stop and then just edit an advertisement in the middle of it, and then restart the show. So I have to figure out, if that's how much work I have to do to get that to work with a live show. So even if I take the audio out of it, can I still, finagle it? So we'll see, but there's still some more. Hey, Dana, good morning. Dana's birthday was this week. So happy, birthday again to Dana. Hope she's doing well. I'm not gonna say she's under the weather, but she's, tackling some things with her health. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into that because that's her thing, but, we definitely wish her well and love and light. And, yeah, so that's kind of just something I've been, really getting serious. I have some ideas for names of the show. So I'm kind of kicking those around with myself. And I already have an idea hey, Phil, what's happening, buddy? Good morning, buddy. Phil, I just got to say, hey, Rachel, good morning. Phil, love the post with being up in Frankenmuth, man. I mean, I haven't been there in a couple years because of the pandemic and stuff, but I was super excited to see a lot of those photos, man, because like I said, I haven't been able to get up there in a while. So and it looked like you and Aaron had a great time. So that was awesome, man. Thanks for sharing those photos to everybody. But Dana, yeah, everything's coming back negative. That's the important thing, Dana. Absolutely. But yeah, so like I said, I want to kind of kick that around, and I was going to save that, for the New Year's Eve morning show, just to sort of say, but then again, maybe in the next week or 2 weeks, technically, I'll be able to maybe have a little bit more information on it, because like I said, I already have who I would like to be first, because of some of the naming that I want to call the show. It would make sense to have this person on first. Due to the naming of what I would call the monthly show. So, hey, Darlene, good morning. Mama D. I'd almost remember to say that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, if I'm on the show, I get paid big bucks. Yeah, I'll get you a beer. That'll be easy, and some pretzels. But yeah, so that's kind of a cool idea. I've been really kicking harder around. Hey, Donna, good morning. So yeah, I'm really pushing for, to do at least that, concept for next year. Obviously still continuing with the morning show because again, I still love the idea of where we can just kind of get together. We can all hang out. We can just, ask whatever questions. What's up, Jeff? You never know, Jeff. You never know. It could happen one of those days, Uh, no chips or popcorn, no pretzels. What? um, yeah, Phil, my first time out there freaking with Absolutely Magical. Bronner's was my version of, I mean, yeah, Phil, Bronner's, I mean, and it was good that you guys kind of did that during the week. This time of year is horrible. Well, going on a weekend, basically, November to December is a bad idea for Bronner's. Not so much Frankenmuth, but then again, some of the things are pretty good. I, I know. I'm laughing at Mama D. I think it's still fun to do that, but she's a sweetheart. So yeah. Yeah, I know Daddy is, but that's why I got plenty of pretzels on hand, so it would be easier. But yeah, that's cool, Phil. Glad you guys had a good time, and in the picture showed. So yeah, yeah, I'll have to get back out there. What we should do, Phil, when it gets warmer, we'll just do like another trip, but we'll do it when it's warmer. We'll all like hook up and go meet up there, man. That might be kind of fun. Hey, Jen. So that's a good thing. Yeah, and then see, since I saw Jen pop in there real quick, I did, a live version of saying thank you to Jen last weekend for letting me stay at her place and being on the show. So, verbally she can see it, as well, even though I said it how many times while I was there. But so Jen was awesome. So we had fun. Great show. We had fun last weekend. So yeah, good times. But yeah, so keep that in mind. So like I said, maybe I can get some, hey, actually, good morning. So I hoping that maybe I can get that worked out because I know a lot of times too, the idea of another show and to be able to have guests because the morning show was never intent to ever have guests, and I've said that since the very conception of this show. It was just more just for us to get together, and that's just the point. But I wanted to, I've been wanting to, do that more, but it's been tough to try to get people that are willing to wake up early enough for this, even though it's 9:30. I tried to split the difference, as best I could, but I still like it. I don't think, again, the idea of us all hanging out and talking and just asking questions or talking about something we thought of while we went to bed or something we dreamt over. I think that's fun to do this. And so I don't want to really change too much with that. I still, doesn't mean that I won't still maybe have a guest here and there or do something like with Jen where, I get to be side by side with somebody at a location. Like in her case, I was at her house, but just to be able to do things like that and hang out. So yeah, that would be a real treat, and so I'm going to continue with that, and that's why I want to create another show to sort of do that, to be able to have guests on. And because I mean I've been on a lot of good shows. Like this week I got to be on the Paranormal Voice, which was out of Windsor, Canada. Dale and Michael John Michael, excuse me. And so, I mean, I, had a great time, and it would be fun to be able to reciprocate, the idea of being on, a lot of these people's shows and then give them an opportunity to be on mine. So, I can talk to them versus, them asking all the questions to me. So yeah, so I'd like to still do that. And it's always been on my mind for years. But now's, maybe the right time to finally do that. And so that, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to do that. And like I said, I love the morning show. I love being able to hang out, like, drinking our coffees and teas, and maybe you guys are snacking on things or eating breakfast. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Or if you're listening to this back or watching it later, still appreciate you, taking the time to watch. Still got and Phil, just in case you do bolt off, Manny, buddy, this is still I'm still rocking some pumpkin spice coffee, buddy, so just for you. But yeah, no, that's cool. So other things that have kind of gone on this week, it was a weird thing because obviously I was off the week before, and now that I was trying to get back in the swing of things, man, the I posted a little bit about it, especially yesterday, I think it was. Sleep has not been great with me this week, just because of trying to get back into the swing of things, and so I've been waking up a lot, and it's just my mind. It's mostly my mind. Some temperature issues where I'd be too hot, and it's crazy. it's not like the house is, scorching warm. I mean, and so it's just for whatever reason, I just get warm. And so a lot of times I've caught myself, I'm on top of all the covers, completely. And I wear shorts and a t-shirt to bed. So, I mean, go figure that. How the heck am I still warm? But when I do that, then I'm fine. So, but, it's okay. So I was, getting back in the swing of things. I'm going to jump real quickly, but, starting yesterday and then all of next week. So this, yesterday, Friday, and then Monday through Friday next week, I'm working from home. So I'm covering our help desk. So the good thing is I truly don't have to worry about an alarm, which is sometimes where the mental side of things comes in. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss the alarm. Even with having two of them set, I still just got this fear because, I don't want to get in trouble for being late, and so granted, it's once in a blue moon. It's like usually once a year, there's always a time where the alarm just doesn't go. It doesn't work. I mean, it's the same thing. I leave it set. I turn the same alarm on all the time, and it just doesn't go off. And so now that I've been, for since the pandemic, I mean, I've had to rely on myself. And so whereas like my brother would uh jump in, and if he noticed that, I wasn't outside or I wasn't picking him up right now, it's like, where are you at? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still sleeping. So oh, really, Jeff? I'll have to watch that. Well, Jeff, keep in mind the lighting, it's real easy. Like here, just to show you. Let me turn that one off. Let's see if it'll go. Yeah, see how it's starting to, like, in the right where the microphone is over there, see it shadowing right there? It's lighting. So shouldn't be a legit thing. I actually have to turn on extra lights to kind of hit the green screen so it doesn't do that matrixing and shadowing effect. But it always happens more here than it does over here because I have several lights on my right side, which is to your left, but my right side has got a lot more over here. So you saw butt cheese, geez, oh Pete. Yeah, right there. Easy now. It's a morning show. Hey, Debbie, good morning. But yeah, so sleep has been been a horrible thing for me all week. But that's, again, nothing new. You guys have all seen that. Oh, what did Phil say? It was always great time for pumpkin spice or even nice spicy cinnamon tea. Yeah, I agree. Well, I just bought some more of this because this was the coffee, the pumpkin one I do is by Bones Coffee. They call it Jacked O' Lantern. And I bought a couple more boxes, so I'm going to ration it out to where it gets me all the way to next fall. So I will at least be able to have, if one a week, because I'm not home during the week to drink coffee. So I drink coffee at work, but on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So usually one of those days I'll have like one, maybe two, depending how I ration it. But that's what I did this year is I rationed them out to where I had one a month. And it worked out to where then the last one worked as soon as they released the seasonal Jack o' Lantern. So if you're in the Matrix now, where is Neo? Hey, you never know. Hey, Dale, I was just talking about you and your partner there. I gave you guys thanks, for having me on this week on your show, the paranormal voice out of Windsor. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be on there, and so. I was talking with everybody. I'm real quickly, Dale, in case you didn't hear it. I'm going to try to do. I've been thinking about for almost a year or so, but I'm going to do possibly another show during the week, and then same thing. I want to have just where it's guest related only, not topic based. It's really just going to be where it's guest period. That's all the show will be. So it'll probably be once a month at first. And then if it gets some life to it, then I'll increase it to maybe two, every other week. And we'll see if it takes off. But I got some ideas, we'll see. So I'm going to try to work those out. Rachel, I just bought a new light, nighttime tea, and have been sleeping better and not well. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Unfortunately, and some of you guys know, some of you guys don't remember, or maybe don't know at all. I deal with kidney stones on more of a chronic level, and so tea. There you go, Jen. I'm looking. um, I with the kidney stones, tea is one of those things that I can't do. I can't do a lot. I can have tea here and there, but I can't do it on a I can't do every day. I tried to switch at one point, and unfortunately, it backfired because I was trying to get away from coffee, and that backfired horribly. So I had kidney stones for probably a couple weeks until I could get them all filtered out. So, so unfortunately, hey Jennifer. So unfortunately, yeah, can't do tea that often. I do like tea. I do enjoy it. But I just have to really space that out. I mean, I really do. And she's referring to an herbal tea, which, oh, well, could be. I mean, I've tried as natural as it comes. I mean, I've gotten the tea in raw form. I have to sit there and put it in its own little, I forget what they call it, the little cage thing. I mean, I've gone as natural as you could possibly go in certain levels and still had issues because I would try it and it is what it is. But it's no big deal. I'm used to it. So, oh, thanks, Debbie. I know, right? It seems like it would. Uh, just trying to get us all in the festive mood for next week. Tea diffuser, thank you, Jill. I was gonna say diffuser, but then again, for something, I just like if I say the wrong thing, it's gonna look stupid. So, Phil, I've only asked them once, and it was brewed. I couldn't imagine. Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to have them every week. I mean, so it's just it is what it is. Like I said, I get used to it. And there's a few times this year there's been some good ones where like, the pain is not nothing to me mostly, but I've had a few in recent months that they've definitely caught my attention a little bit more. So, yeah, valerian root. Yeah, Jen, you've always hit me on that one. Yeah, so it works. So, but yeah, so that's been cool. So, like I said, getting back in the swing of things, I was able to do. Obviously, I can't give you guys a lot of um, details. Uh, uh, I did, because I've been trying to, because getting back into things again and not being at 100%, running strong. So I haven't been able to get to everybody that I've been trying to make, get back to some of the readings and healings that I need to do still. And I know, Carrie, I was getting there. I was getting there. I was working towards it. Um, I was able to get a couple things done this week. So even though I was probably shooting about 95, 96%. So I was like, I still felt confident enough. And then it was intense because obviously without giving you details of who and where, both were remote viewings. One had to do with checking out the property on a particular location due to some unusual things that have been going on. And so when I took a look, that was something that, I haven't really dealt with before. Not that it was going to stop me from handling it, but it definitely, it was not good. And in the sense that because it was causing a little bit of mischief, so to speak, uh, I took it upon myself to get rid of it because I knew the people really well. And I knew it wasn't going to be something that they wanted anymore, because it was just like I said, it was causing a few little hiccups. Nothing horrible, but just enough to where if you let it go too much longer, then it becomes a problem. And so did that, and then that's what I switched to. And yeah, I got you, Rachel. Okay, that's awesome. But that's a good thing. But that was a little bit more of a struggle. Doing removals where you're getting rid of something that's, cranky, nasty, maybe not necessarily of a human spirit that ever once lived or walked on our plane. It was a little bit more of a challenge. It was definitely, it was a lot more work than I expected, but again, like I said, I can't give you all the details because that's a private matter. But yeah, it was a lot of work. And then it's funny, about maybe not even a half an hour, 45 minutes later after that, then I went into my next one that was able to get available earlier. So, and then I did a healing. So I went from doing a removal and then jumping into a healing, which the healing too was almost because they thought that they had an attachment. And again, big keyword thought. They had classic symptoms because I have, I'm asking, what's going on. And there's certain wording that, a lot of us that do attachment removals, are looking for. And it definitely had the classic signs for the, hey, Bonnie, good morning. And so I, checked this person out, and luckily they did not have anything truly attached. There was no cords, so to speak, which a lot of us that do removals have seen. And so I basically just kind of helped them out. So I kind of cleaned them up a little bit, which is like a cleanse, and so I okay, Dinah, I got you. Sorry about that. I internet, you gotta love it. um So I cleaned them up and stuff like that. That it definitely felt a lot better. I even, took it upon myself to just kind of do the house too, so that way it wasn't just the individual themselves, and I took care of the house. And good thing is they felt the difference, and have been doing better every day. They've kind of kept me up to date, which is always nice to see. Just to be courteous, but things have been improving, so you can't complain on that. Um, what is it? Is it difficult to mentally transition yourself from removal to cleaning? Yeah. Well, Phil, I mean, you never know until you just go for it. Typically, like, you know, when you do a holistic fair or something like that, it's bang, doing reading after reading after reading. And so, you're just consistently there. Now, the crazy thing was, here's one thing to another thing. And so, it the intent behind it all is I'm focusing on this one, and this is what I'm doing. And then I, do my investigating side, which like for the removal, got the info I needed, seen what I need to see, said, nope, we're not going to run. This is not sticking around, dealt with it. And then like I was in the mode of another removal, but true attachment to a person. So that was sort of in the category. But then when I check the individual out and then see the important things of where you have something attached in any way. And like I said, cords are usually the first visuals that you do see. Doesn't mean that they can't just be like a backpack, so to speak. You could get those that just look like there's like this thing just grabbing onto you and like like a piggyback ride, so to speak. But so that's the thing, is it's just being completely open to whatever. So I don't want to like when I do a reading, yes, it's great that if somebody wants to talk to somebody specifically, it's cool because you can go right to that person. But like things like this, I still always keep that door open to whatever may be, because I don't know. I don't know until I can get a chance to see the client. And so once I realize that, I'm like, no big deal. But it's still whatever happens. And I think just doing this for as long as I've been doing it now, it's just become more easy to just be open to whatever. It's great to know, but I don't have to know. That's a classic going in cold. So even if I do know stuff, it doesn't mean that that's exactly the way it is. So yeah, it's just rolling with it, regardless of what information's there. So like I said, if I do feel like for you, if I give you like 5 readings, you know what I mean? So we do like a reading, every couple months, for years. Just because I know some of that information doesn't mean that that's the same stuff that's coming back. And I'm not going to be going back through my notes and researching it. A lot of times I don't always even keep track of things just for that reason, because then for me personally, I don't remember the last time, because I've done so much in between that point. So half the time I don't remember. And you think about it, you do so many readings a year that you lose track. Yes, you do remember I did this for this person, but I can't remember everything that was said. So sometimes it's like the information will come up, or it'll expand, which is what I like, is that when I give the same person a reading, here and there, it's always what's next, not let's go over the same things, because that obviously, I mean, that's not how it works, even for me. So, Phil, have you ever had an entity that detached from someone else, try or sexually? Well, yeah, um, that is very possible. What happens is it's the individual. So like me in this instance, what do I have backing myself? What kind of protection do I have? Am I being also alert? Yes, I'm focused on them, but I still have basically, an eye in the back of my head. Uh, Clearly, uh, because yeah, it can happen. It has happened. There is, we can even jump real fast. The worst of all worst cases that anyone can deal with is a 100% genuine demonic case. Okay. Yeah, I guarantee none of us that are watching the show or watching it back are qualified to even handle something like that. I'm not qualified to handle that. If at any point that I believe that if somebody comes to me with something, which has happened once, that it just spelled not a good idea. Um, I respectfully declined and tried to help them find somebody that is and has the qualifications and studies and experiences in a true 100% genuine demonic case. Um, because that is scary because I, you would want to go on site for something like that versus like me doing a remote because I do remotes around the world. And it's really easy, like, especially in a demonic case, because they got all the power in the world that's up there for them to easily just hold on like a shoestring. And then as I'm coming back to my physical body, they're right there. And then all hell breaks loose here in the house. So it is very possible, but I also have to be very vigilant. I do have specific techniques that I do to protect myself when I am doing a removal. Uh, whether it's in a house or on an individual, I have specific rules that I've always set. And they have worked really well for me. Some of it has always been research for myself to see if this is then something that, because I can do it repetitively, can I then put it in a book or do an article to where this could help others then. So I want to make sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is, something that could easily, help others in the same position when they're doing this. So yeah, it's always possible, but yeah, I always keep an eye, extra couple eyes open. And a lot of times it does work, especially when I do the remote stuff, because I really do. I'm looking with different eyes versus my own human eyes, which really does amazing. Yeah. My dad's saying moms have eyes in the back of their head. They do, yeah, and in my line of work too. Yeah, you kind of have to too. Let's see, Margaret. I've heard of energetic cords that link to people. Is that a type to tie to have the loved ones, or yeah, no, there is, Margaret, absolutely, yeah. When you're really connected to somebody, you really love somebody, absolutely, there's a cord. You know it, you feel it. I mean, I've seen so many instances of that, and you can see that when you're in the presence of people that are truly in love with each other. And doesn't matter, I mean, whatever the case is. But again, I've seen it. You just can't shake it. And then they're both in the boat of where they don't want to be apart from each other, and it's sad because they only feel great when they're with that other person. So yeah, it's basically like a cord, but obviously it's not a negative situation for them, but it's a it's a good thing when you really are. I mean, and I could go with friends too. I mean, granted, it's not always the same because but I think we give love to everybody. I want to give love and light to all of you, and I say that every day, or when I do the show and when I do post. I mean, that's what's the important thing. So let's see, Dinah, what happens to the energetic cord when one partner passes away? Well, that's great question, Dinah. Yeah, there you go, Nikki's soul ties. Yeah, yeah, Dinah, so it's always, I mean, it is there. I'm trying to think of the best wording for that. But it stays, my husband and I. Yeah, it is there, and it's not like it's ever truly broken. It's funny because that's why I was gonna segue. Maybe I will segue into what I was gonna try to talk about a little bit, because I think it's interesting, with these questions and comments. Even like now, and let's do this. I'm going to kind of expand what you're asking, Dinah, but wrap it into sort of what I'm talking about, because I talked about visiting loved ones, and I've seen it, and I posted about it this week. The This time of year, when we always say Halloween, the veil is real thin, the spirits are near. But what's funny is nobody ever talks about crazy, activity. You don't see it. Not that it doesn't happen, and I'm not saying it. The veil is thin. That's right. What we noticed though, when we get to this point of the holidays, especially Christmas, we see there's so much more activity. So many people have reached out to me. I've also seen people posting about things and didn't even realize, that they were having experiences with their loved ones. I can't sit there because they didn't really ask me to comment, but I just kind of do my little grin and smile. Um, the those ties because of what Christmas, and I'm going to say Christmas, I'm not going to, PC myself on that, but um, Christmas does, granted there's stress with buying the gifts, stress with getting the getting everybody together, getting all the food prepped. We get that. But it's once that event, that gathering, that moment with family and friends are happening, the energy is way different. And we think about it, there's songs that talk about that. Hey, Della, um, we have, a love, a friendship. It's being together, sharing a special time of year, a special moment with each other. Our attitudes, our energies are completely in this most positive white light space. I mean, love, white light, it's all there. And despite the stress, despite the road rage, despite the people fighting in the stores, and yelling and bickering, but when we finally get to those moments, we have that. So those loved ones are always there. Hey, Jeff, those loved ones are always around. And so even ones that have passed on, they want to show up. They want to still continue the party. Yes, they got to do it on a little bit different level, but they still have that attachment to you all. They still want to be a part of the moment. They still, even though you may not, hey, Ann, you may not always sense them. You may not always feel them. You may not always see a sign, a physical sign that they're there, but they are there because they're very conscious of this time of year and they know what it means to everybody. Sure, we've every year we lose friends and stuff. No, you're good, Dell. Um, we definitely lose, people every year. It has to happen. That's the only way this works. But when we get to this point where now we're in December and it's that maybe that first Christmas, without them, that's the thing is keep that energy level up. Don't bring it down, keep it up because guess what? Because they see how excited you are, they see that you're continuing on, they see that you have this excitement for the holiday that it gets them excited. It may give them a chance to give more signs to all of you, whether it's leading up to it, which a lot of people are experiencing right now, or they may do that on the day you gather, with your other family and friends and stuff. So it's just one of those things that I talk about all the time, and I say it all the time, is to make sure you guys are always talking to your loved ones, whether you know they can hear, whether you know they're around you. It's the point of talking to them. Hey, I miss you. I love you. Whatever the case may be, whatever wording you want to use, you can use your audible voice, or you can say it within your head. They hear it because regardless, is your voice, what you guys are hearing me through, it's all energy within your head. It's all energy. So it doesn't matter. So if you have other people around, you can always walk over to the side and just bow your head or just kind of close your eyes for a second, say what you need to say to those loved ones. And it's important to still do that because again, that's like I've always said, and people know it's a way to keep their memory alive and a way to keep them there. Like I said, they show up. That's why you ask them if you're having a rough day. Hey, can you be here today? I'm having a rough one. They're going to be there. That's just a part of the rule. That's the contract. If you ask them to be there, they're going to be there, so let's see, Dad. That's why I believe birthdays and Christmas are the times they come back to our houses. Yeah. Phil, Christmas time is a gathering together that can knock many birds out in one stone and going to the holidays. Absolutely. Sharon, I always say that my mom and Jason and my husband. Yep. Nikki, always talk to your loved ones and your ancestors, and they'll always do it every. Yep. My understanding is that the connection with loved ones is there regardless whether or not there's an esoteric cord. This is why you can cut the cord with a toxic loved one to eliminate the exchange and toxic energy, but you're still energetically connected on a higher level. Thank you, Jen. That's a great way. Love that. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I know that was a long one for Dell and stuff, but yeah, it is there. And obviously if, like what Jen's saying, if it's bad, yeah, you can get rid of it. It doesn't take much to do that. Well, depends. I mean, it could be pretty emotional for you, but if it's that bad that has to happen, you got to go through the process, but there's a lot of us that can help you with that. But yes, so that, that's, it is important to, And you should never, I mean, I know you guys won't, but it's always important to continue to love those, those, and to keep their memories alive. Because they're always there. They're always going to be there for you, and they're always going to be. And by the way, it's 10:10, just so everybody knows. That was for Jen. There it is. I put it in the chat too. and I and since I just punched it in, by the time it hit, it did the sequential. So now it's 10:11 on the actual timestamp. So Jennifer, like when you buy a stuffed animal, yeah, right, right. It's there's so many things that happen, and this happens throughout the year. Most people just aren't aware of it, but when it stands out to you, where you stop and notice it, it's because that was designed that way. They did that on purpose, so that way you noticed it. You got to remember, it's not easy. They can't just come up to you and whisper in your ear. I mean, they can, they certainly can, but they know if they did that, how scared would you be? Because I think if anybody snuck up behind you, and I'm going to use the word sneaking up, and just started to whisper in your ear, how many are gonna jump because you're not expecting it. So your loved ones are going to try to do things subtle, because then you won't be scared, because you don't want to call your loved one a ghost, right? Because that seems like, okay, well, they're going to be tricky, or they're going to be doing spooky things, right? No. you know they're going to try to do things. So like Jennifer's talking about, with a name tag that's got of somebody that she knew that's passed on. You guys could be in the radio, and a certain song, just you turn the radio on, the first song that pops up, or all of a sudden the radio does something funky, and a song pops up, and when you check out what song it is, it's like, whoa, that was this person's favorite song. Oh my gosh. I mean, and then you'd be like, well, that's a coincidence, that's weird. Oh no, 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 no. They're doing that on purpose, because they want you to know that they are there, because they understand that all of us are fully open to being able to hear it. Like for me, I shut down when I'm not doing mediumship. So I'm not just sitting there, because I've learned my lesson. I've talked about those many times, but I've learned my lesson. I keep my switch off when I'm not wanting it, because if not, it's just chitter chatter all over the place. And I don't want that all the time. you know, Certain situations, yes, that's great, but most of the time I don't. So my switch is off. So for me, yeah, I don't get to hear things all the time, and certainly I do. I do turn things on and off just to kind of check on stuff, but you know but but that's what the point is. They really want to try to get to you, and like I said, there's so many different ways that they'll do it. Della, my thermostat's going up and down. See, now that's the thing. Now if it was somebody in your past, were they all into a certain temperature? If it was down all the time, and they because they wanted it cooler, if they wanted it really warm, that's an easy sign, because you have to remember, think about what relates to them, or when it was this something they did. Did they battle you over who's got the setting the temperatures? And then that's fun, because then at least gives you a way to smile, because then if you notice it and be like, like in this, like Della's saying with the thermostat, you could, as soon as you go to fix the thermostat, put it where you want it, and be like, okay, I got the message. Thank you for being here. Let's not change it anymore. Okay. Point taken. I got you. You're here. Good. And okay, it was your dad. So yeah. But tell your dad, hey, okay, now you can leave it alone. You message received. And have fun with it. Make your energy up. Don't sink. Just be like, oh my gosh, that's my dad, and then you're going to get all thinking about that they're gone and stuff. No, no, no. Bring yourself back up. Get them excited. Amp them up a little bit as well, so that way they have a chance to, maybe they'll do something else for you. So all right, Peg. Oh, geez, Peg. Working on shoveling out of snow today, but man, it's ever so beautiful, all puffy outside in the trees. Wow, Peg. Well, don't hurt yourself. Take some breaks if you need to. So hang in there. Yeah, I did hear that you guys were getting some snow out that way. So wow. Yeah, we barely got anything. I can't even call it a dusting. So, but Dinah saying, I had a music box in my dresser start playing about 4 a.m. early in the morning. I've not wound that box in over a year. Dinah, now you mentioned a specific time. Was this a time when he woke up at 4 a.m.? That's another thing that's a way to look at that. Is that one of those moments? Was that something he got up for work, or was that his normal time for waking up whenever? Um, look at what you always got to find what all the details that you do see and then try to go from there. Um, or is there some other, significance to 4 a.m. for maybe you? Maybe it was just you waking up at that point, on a regular basis. So, you know, expand it, see where it goes. And then Della, I keep it at 65 and then it goes to 70. That would be nice. Well, Della, I mean, you know, you certainly can have a lot of, it could be anything. Like I said, but it certainly could, obviously you have to obviously investigate all these things, and make sure nobody's just truly doing it. So, um, let's see, both my son 70 and my dad 64. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Um, or maybe he died at the time. Right. And let's see, Della, I'm trying to give you stars. Um, could be a bad therm. Well, yeah, right. And my dad's right. Like I said, you have to, you do still have to go through the rules, just like I do in an paranormal investigation. You got to rule out the easy stuff, the man-made, so to speak, items. Is the thermostat been busted, or is it only happening right now? Is there some type of battery issue? Because some of them have battery backups, to make sure it's still running. Um, you know, you got to go through all the classic stuff first. And then when you finally go through that and you can't, it's not this, it's not that, then you've checked off a few things that, it's definitely, nothing that should be happening. But then you can start leaning that, okay, maybe it is one of them. So, but again, a lot of that does happen on them specifically as to, what is unique about that occurrence or experience at that moment. See if it relates or not, and you bought a new thermostat. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So like I said, you just got to dwindle down them. Like I said, I'm anybody that ever comes to me, and so this is anybody that's watching, or if this is anybody in the future. If you bring me some evidence, and I'm just using it as just a general, so it's not just because of this time of year, you bring me any type of evidence, I'm going to sit there and go down the list. Okay, this, and this. Let's go through this first, because I'm not going to sit there and automatically jump saying that it is. Okay, it's just not. We have to be objective on everything, to be cautious, because there's so many people that, and I'm not going to even give specifics, and I'm not in. We've all seen it. Anybody that is anything into the paranormal or anything like that, you've seen people, you know, go crazy over said evidence that they've collected. Um, no, trying to debunk it at all, and they just believe it. And if they say, "Hey, check this out," and then you start asking them questions, it's sometimes it gets kind of bad, because they start getting mad about the fact that you're picking it apart. I'm only picking it apart because I want it to be legit for you. I don't want it to be something that isn't, that it's misinterpreted, because it happens all the time. Our phones that we take a lot of our photos from and video from, there is flaws in those electronics. I hate to say it. The manufacturers know it. And most people that understand electronics know that too, that you really have to be careful when you're taking photos and videos with cell phones. I mean, even just, other camera systems, it still has issues, and it's known. So that's why when you do things like that, I mean, you can't, like with video, it's great if you got a couple people doing video at the same time, because if the shots are overlapping to where you could see one angle, you can see another angle, and if one camera's doing it and the other one's not doing, what's going on? Is it a camera issue? Because they should both be picking it up. So again, that's just the investigator side of things. Photos. Anytime I do photos, all the photos you guys see me post when I do all the nature stuff, do you realize how many photos I take of that one particular scene or shot? Multiple, sometimes 3 or 4. And I do that for multiple reasons. One, to eliminate anything that might be goofy, or maybe it's out of focus on one of them. Two, just to try to make sure I get the most crisp photo of that image that I want to capture and then share. So I do go back through and I delete ones that I just don't like, whether it again is out of focus or stuff. But I always do that. And I would encourage all of you. So if you're taking photos with somebody, you're taking a selfie of yourself, do it 3 times. Don't move. Just go bang, 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 or however many, but don't do just one photo ever. Never. Nowadays, you should never do that. Always take multiples. Um, I think it's called cell phone orbs that really go. Peg, I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing, Peg. Not going there. Not gonna happen. Even though, even though I have had plenty of activity with orbs, and I'm gonna say the word. I have plenty of activity of orbs. The best part is it's not with an electronic device. It is with my own physical human eyes. Those, to me, when I get to experience them with my own eyes, beats all electronics, beats being them captured, because in that moment, I was able to physically see them. And that has happened from years when I started walking my spiritual path. To be able to see them with my own eyes is way better than any photograph that I could ever take and try to attempt to capture them. I do love it, and I have caught some stuff that I have been able to, kind of validate that there wasn't, this, it wasn't that and stuff. But I absolutely love them, and I see them, they a lot of times, it's usually my guides that are popping in there. It's usually the visual reminder of, remember us? You haven't talked to us today yet. And it's like, bad on me. And so then, yeah, that's usually what typically happens. If I don't talk to them at least once a day, then they kind of pop up there, and you'll see, and then, like, really right in front of me. Like, even then they could pop up in front of the screen, and I just see them, and I'll just kind of like, yep, I will do that shortly. So, but yeah, Peg, it's way better than capturing. And even then, a lot of times too, it is special. Like, even if you're on an investigation, and then couple of you are seeing it at the same time, that's great, because then, they're really manifesting themselves. So, I mean, it is a true phenomenon. Unfortunately, capturing it on, stills and video, it just makes it tough to validate. And that's why sometimes you have to know what the situation is of what's going on at that moment. So people come to me with that stuff, I kind of have to go and ask them a ton of stuff, because I got to know what else is happening to kind of see, but it's all good. It's all good. Tell them to schedule a time to call. You're all right, Dad. Well, sometimes it's just, it's just time. And so there isn't a scheduled time. They're just like, it's going to be now. We're going to communicate. But usually they do it in private. So it's usually when you're by yourself and stuff. Phil, I've seen them with my own peepers on 3 or 4 different occasions. The most notable is one during a residential investigation. I saw a gorgeous electric blue light shoot out of a closet and shin level. Okay. And I did capture an EVP of a woman that see, that's even right. And then to have multiple experiences, that's great for an investigator. Oh my gosh. It doesn't get any better, to have different pieces of equipment and then your own physical experiences to witness something, because that makes it harder to say it's this or that. Hey. So yeah, so anytime you can double up on something, and I've been in plenty of situations just like you, Phil, whether you physically experience something or you feel a cold spot, and then all of a sudden either EVP or an EMF is going off, or whatever the case is, you could get a couple things. It's just, without a shadow of a doubt, you're on to something. So now you've eliminated a lot of, it could be this. Well, now you've kind of narrowed it down a little bit. So yeah, you didn't miss a whole lot. I mean, well, it is only there is 6 more minutes in the show. But yeah, so, but that's cool, Phil. I mean, and those are the ones you live for. I mean, when you can double up on that moment, it just helps us as investigators be able to present that kind of information to the public then, because we can have an experience, but it's our experiences, but it's hard to relay that experience to somebody. I mean, because I could, when I was on the Paranormal Voice Wednesday, they were asking, like, what's my, kind of top 3 experiences at the old mill. That was tough. I mean, I had to really think about it because, like, there's a couple that do, rank up there, but then it was like, gosh, I could go in so many directions at just our location. Um, yeah, and even then, if they were to ask the same question and it would have been like, "Hey, what about your top 3 overall?" And it's like, "Oh man, that's impossible." I mean, there's so many amazing moments. There's so many, you know, I'll say scary moments, and then there's so many amazing moments that it's just so hard to put them in. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it would have been great if I could have put them all down into in a book where it's just, you know, his experiences and that's it. Because yeah, I could fill a book. I mean, anybody that's done this long enough could easily write a book on just their experiences alone. Whether everybody's going to believe it or not, that's a whole thing. But you were there, you got to experience it. So, you're just hoping that people can have had a similar experience because I think that's what helps too. Is when people haven't had that experience is when they start to kind of, you get these ones that are like, but I'm always willing to listen to everybody that's had an experience, and like I said, to see, what they did to try to disprove, debunk it and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it's cool that you get into those. And I know, Phil, you're great at that. You just don't believe every single thing is 100%. You go through the role just like I talked about earlier. So doubling up does make it valid. Yeah, right, right, Dad. I did talk about Marie. That was kind of my number one. Don't you just love it when entities physically grab you and try to throw you? Right, right, yeah, yeah. I haven't so much of been tried to been picked up. I've been poked and I've been grabbed, but not like literally pulled to where I've gotten off balance of it. But right, Della, I could write a book about my house independent, right? Yeah, I mean, we all could. Anybody that's ever been around stuff could easily do that. So, um, but I got a couple minutes left, so I'll start kind of trailing down here. But I do want to finish up, in one saying or one aspect of it, so that you know, all of us, we've all lost people that we know and love, and again, always make sure you're reaching out to them, especially if they were really close to you, even if it's a friend that maybe wasn't a BFF, but it doesn't hurt to just still throw them some love and friendship, to know that you still think about them, because it does help them. Experiences, from a spiritual side of things, when you're on that realm, that plane, is a little bit different, but again, they they do notice these things, they do feel these things, and they will communicate. They will find a way to get that message across, whether it's in a dream, whether it's a physical, coin. We all know about the coin things, I talk about it often. So yeah, there's plenty of things that they can do and will try to do to make themselves know that it's them, because they obviously, not everybody's open enough or developed their mediumship ability, so to speak, to be able to hear and see them and communicate. Granted, yes, you can communicate, but communication also goes two ways. You can't necessarily hear them speaking to you. So keep that in mind, but don't stop. Don't stop talking to them. Always give them the love that they deserve. Make them feel good too. They appreciate it, and they always have. Let's see. It was underground dwellers at St. Philip Street. Okay, wow. Um, it's when they get violent that you have to. Yeah, well, Margaret, hopefully that's not the case. They're not supposed to get violent, especially if they were close to you. But don't get me wrong. I think we've all had, and I think everybody's family has always had somebody that, was kind of a little bit more cranky, maybe more so at the end of their life. And so they were just, sometimes that still carries on and they still have a little bit of an attitude, but, it doesn't hurt to still throw the love at them for that. I should tell you some of that other kind of stuff. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, both my parents and my son. Gotcha, Della. Um, I ain't got no mediumship. Well, so Dad, on just that alone, we all have it. We truly do. It's just how far are you willing to take it? That's the thing, is we all have it. It literally is just, you just got to open that door. But it's not a door that you should open alone. You definitely need some assistance behind that. But yes, we can do it. I've been able to prove it, to people that they do have it. And that might be kind of a fun, a fun event maybe one time, is to take people that don't know they have mediumship and then kind of come up with an idea, which I do have ideas, to kind of bring those out and see what would happen and see people's experiences and be like, okay, I guess I really do. But it would still be in a controlled way, to be in a safe way. So that way it wouldn't be something you would have to worry about, like something going to follow me home kind of thing. So thanks, Phil. You have a great, man. You have a great holiday. Yeah, if I don't see you, I am going to be back on next Saturday. I will do a, kind of a Christmas show. So maybe we'll be kind of doing some nice things. Maybe I'll talk about some creepy things a little bit just to kind of make it a little exciting next week. So yeah, so I will be on Christmas Eve morning. So we are going to do that. It's locked. I don't have the keys. Yeah, right. I've been able to see and sense and hear entities since I was right. Yeah, and that a lot of people are like that. Yep. Merry Christmas, Sharon. Um, yeah, Valerie, you have a great weekend too. Mandy, that would be, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, there's just some, I've always got ideas kicking around and stuff like that. It'd be kind of fun to throw an event together, and it would be different. It would be a totally different event. It wouldn't be an investigation, so to speak, but it would be a very creative way that if people were, that would have to have some bravery into it, because yeah, I mean, it's a whole different idea to try to put you in a position to where you're going to experience something, or you're going to prove that have these things. It would be kind of fun. So yeah, who knows? We'll see what I can come up with. So Merry Christmas, Jennifer. Merry Christmas and blessed Yule. Absolutely. Yeah, we got solstice in a few days, so guys, keep in mind of that. Yule going to be the shortest day of the year, the least amount of light, so be ready for that. I'll try to post some things on that, and maybe I can do a pop-up show or something on that day or something like that. We'll see. So yeah, I do have, and I'm going to sneak peek it, and I know people are jumping off. I'm thinking about another pop-up show this week sometime. I don't know what day yet, but I'm thinking of a pop-up show. I will provide some details on that. So again, we'll see what happens. So we'll see what day works out best for me. But I'm thinking about a show in the evening coming up this week. And again, I'm going to hold off on the details, because I think it'd be kind of better to just pop it up or not pop the show, but give you guys at least a day or two warning before it happens. So keep watching the post, see what I have in store. So Dale, have a great Christmas. Yep, to you. So again, so yeah, I'm going to try to be on again this week, and then again Christmas Eve morning. So I'll be back. So thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Dinah. So, all right, guys, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go enjoy. I'm going to go run to my buddy's house here in a hopefully a half an hour or so, and then, or at least leaving at that point, and then enjoy the rest of my weekend. So again, thank you. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. And even for those watching this show back, thank you so much for the support. And again, as always, you guys have been watching the Mid-Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. All my love, light, and peace to each and every single one of you. I will see you again very soon. Take care. Have a great weekend.